We are continuing coverage of this absolutely devastating flood out of Kerr County. Marisa, we've now relieved Marisa as well. Chris Suchan is also joining us. So we are kind of taking over the reins and continuing to update everyone out there with the latest developments from what's going on. Right now, we know that 6 people are confirmed dead. Officials expect that number to continue to rise. A very difficult morning and a very difficult Independence Day, July 4th. Unfortunately, this is going to now be synonymous with this as we are tracking just this awful situation. And we do want to have pretty much a reset and let you know what's taking place right now. A lot of communities have been impacted, but let's go ahead and bring in Chief Meteorologist Chris Suchan now to kind of set the scene for us. Such.
Well, yeah, certainly not a very celebratory day in our area with this catastrophic flooding here. My heart has dropped through the day today as the news has been coming in. I want to say thank you to our morning team, some fabulous coverage here. And so let's get you up to speed on where things are now. And I will tell you, this is the river flow for the Guadalupe and the Medina River. Now, the floodwaters wiped out some of the gauges. Hunt, the gauge is out. Kerrville, the gauge has not been updating. So this is the last reading. This is now a little bit outdated. It was coming down at 20,800 cubic feet per second. The gauge in Comfort, now that's a little bit more, it's not timely. It's a little delayed, but it gives you some idea of what we've been dealing with here, 109,000 cubic feet per second. And notice that flood wave has not reached Spring Branch just yet. This is the latest reading here, just a little while ago in Spring Branch, but that river is going to be really surging. And the crest is forecast tonight at 3 in the morning in Spring Branch at 37 feet gauge height, which is moderate flood stage, just below major. So that then will empty into Canyon Lake. Now, I've been fielding a lot of questions about below Canyon Lake. Understand Canyon Lake it's a flood control lake. That's what it's designed for. It's very low. It's more than 31 feet down. It will take all that water coming in. There will not be flooding downriver from Canyon Lake Dam. And there are a lot of questions about New Braunfels and Seguin. Again, Canyon Lake has a lot of room to handle this major flood event that's coming in here. And that level there at 17 cubic feet per second is going to go vertical and skyrocket here in short order through the afternoon into this evening. You see the Medina River here too. In Medina, that gauge also is out as far as I can tell. That's an old read on it here. Now you can see in Bandera it's at 418. Moderate flood stage has been reached, will be reached in Bandera at 5 o'clock. The crest at 17-foot gauge height is the expectation to forecast. And you can see that'll be working its way into Pipe Creek, where it's still at 8.5 cubic feet per second. Here are the numbers. It has been generally an 8 to about a 14-inch rainfall. Kerr, parts of Bandera County, also into Kendall County, a large area of very heavy rainfall here. And our rainfall estimate product here tends to underdo it just a little bit. So I would say add another inch to some of these values that you see here. And so generally speaking, it's been about a foot of rain to 13, maybe about 14 inches in very isolated cases. And you see that's all feeding into the Guadalupe River, a watershed. That's how you get a massive flood wave that builds and surges down. And we've been talking about this with the epic drought that we've been in for the past 5 years. It's not a matter of if, it's always a matter of when. When arrived last night and today for the Guadalupe River and also the Medina River. Not necessarily as much as the Guadalupe, but it is getting some impact. All right, so here we are now. This is live power Doppler radar. What I will tell you for some semblance of good news here is that the intensity of the rain is decreasing. We're not seeing the big high rainfall rates, training storms like we have seen through the morning and late last night as the storms are developing and filling in. So everything you see here is more light to moderate rain, which is helpful here. Let's bring this in just a little bit closer. You see Canyon Lake down into Bexar County, light to moderate rain, but we don't have the flooding issues here around Bexar County. You see it extends back to Bandera, Medina County as you work up into Kerr County. Let's go ahead and pan this over. At this point, obviously with the flooding that's ongoing, we'd like to see this rain completely shut off. But at a minimum, at least it is decreasing on the intensity level here, which is going to be somewhat helpful. Let me take you back in time, and you can see here's our swirl. This is actually the remnant circulation of Tropical Storm Barry from many days ago, meandered across Mexico, then did a little hook, and now we're dealing with it with just an absolute tropically water-saturated atmosphere. You're holding a lot of water, and it took advantage of that. Now, I will tell you, the mechanics that are driving this event are weakening. So the atmosphere is getting very worked over. Last night, as the low-level jet was strengthening across South Texas, that's been weakening. So we will see an overall weakening trend. And in fact, the rain should tend to break apart later on this afternoon into this evening here. But I see the potential for a dire situation developing later tonight, tomorrow morning, as this remnant circulation may pulse back up. So let me walk you through it. This is at 5 in the evening. We still have the chance, we'll see on this, we can still have the chance for a couple of pockets of heavier rain at 5 o'clock. And you see how, as we work our way through 8 to 9 to 10 o'clock, this is just an isolated 20% chance of sprinkles or a shower. Then deeper into the night, we may see this circulation tend to sort of pulse back up, flare up with additional downpours as it goes stationary. And notice this would include Bexar County. So now you're thinking about, do we get a little bit of flooding in Bexar County deeper into the overnight into your Saturday morning? There you see, this is now going at 7 o'clock. I'm using the HER computer model. If you were with me last night, I was not showing our in-house computer models. I thought it was incorrect. It was not handling the scenario that I saw coming. So this is my model of choice, and I continue to run with it. And you see pockets of moderate to heavy rain, Kendall, Comal County, Bexar County. This would be a flash flooding scenario in the northern half of Bexar County. Again, Comal, Kendall County. This would aggravate the scenario that we already seen, could create more flooding. And then notice it tends to slowly move back to the west and weaken through the day. And then on Sunday, we still get a chance for a little bit of rain, but it's really starting to shift more to the west and very isolated around Bexar County. And then next week, there really isn't much of a rain chance. And so we're drying out, and it's all about recovery through the course of next week from this catastrophic flood. So additional rainfall moving forward, based on what I just showed you, this is the potential that is on the table. And you can see it could be another 1 to 3 inches or more in some cases for parts of the hill country. Notice Bexar County, you know, in that scenario I showed you, you see that yellow shading, there's our legend right there, and you're going 6 inches or more. So we really have to be on guard in Bexar County. We haven't, to this point, seen any flooding from this event, but that doesn't mean we're completely out of the woods just yet. And again, if it is going to be Bexar County, it's likely to be deep into the night into Saturday morning. So please download our 4-zone weather app to your smartphone or your tablet. It's getting all the warnings. This was right off my phone from yesterday, so I haven't updated just yet here. But you see, that was the flood watch I was talking about. And again, you'll track the rain, you'll receive the warnings. There's a voice activation that'll tell you there's a warning for where you are. And this is also nationwide. You could travel with this app anywhere you go, and it'll give you the warnings to keep you ahead of the weather. And it's a free download. So please, I invite you to download that from your app store here. It's just another tool in your toolbox to keep you and your family safe here. So guys, that's where we're standing right now. I'm going to bring some more information, do some updates here for you on the river levels and where we stand here moving forward into this evening. But I'll send it back to you guys there at the desk.
All right, Chris, thank you for that. And thank you again for all the information as we're reestablishing exactly what it is that we're seeing. That right there is going to be a look at some of the images of what folks in the Hill Country right now are dealing with. We're talking about Kerrville, Comfort, Hunt, Ingram, some of the hardest hit areas out there. We had heard earlier reports, possibly as many as 6 people confirmed dead potentially. But again, those are going to be earlier reports. Of course, that number expected to change as the water does finally start to recede in some parts. But that right there, again, the destruction. And we are talking about a lot of devastation that has impacted not just RV parks out there, but also campgrounds where a lot of children were possibly at camp currently.
For summer camp, that includes Camp Mystic, and that camp has come out and said, if we have not contacted you, your child is safe.